Alex, I want to dive right into this. I saw
hmm
that you built and sold two SaaS
hmm
companies. And when I've been looking through your X for the past couple of weeks, I've seen that you have a lot of content on outbound sales. Now,
hmm
to give you some context for myself, outbound for me has worked in different formats. A couple years ago on Instagram, I was sending a lot of video messages to my followers to talk about like this subscription based product I had. That worked out. Also in the format of getting amazing guests like yourself on the podcast on X, that has worked out for me. In your experience, how do you do this in a tasteful way? What are some of the nuances that you understand that maybe most, I guess, mess up on when they're trying to do outbound sales?
Yeah. Yeah. So I think first off, you have to understand that if someone is either has a brand or they have like a business, like they're getting outbounded to all the time, right? I especially experienced this when I grew on social media. And so it's like you want to like it's best to be direct. Like don't beat around the bush and like give a fake compliment and then go right into a pitch. Like that's annoying. So it's best to be direct. It's best to make it extremely easy to understand what the value is that you're providing. It should be able to like skim that and like immediately see it. They shouldn't be reading a book to figure out what the value is. And then it should be extremely easy to say yes to, right? Don't make people think. If you're asking for a demo, don't just say, hey, are you open to a demo? Say, can you do a 15-minute demo today at this time, tomorrow at this time? Don't make them think and look at their calendar. Like make it easy to say yes. Or you can make it even easier. Like, is it cool if I just send over a quick Lim video? Like make it easy for them to say yes to. So many people are like, asking for like too much of your time, or they're saying, we were gonna do this like like they just make it very hard to say yes to. Um, and so I would say like those are like the main things. It's like be direct, um, make it easy to say yes to, and make sure the value is very easy to understand very quickly.
hmm Yeah, honestly, that's super on point. Like one of the ways that I think in hindsight I fucked up a lot on DMs and outbound was that in particular I was like so fixated on volume. So I was like, all right, well,
hmm
if I just rip 100 DMs, then maybe I could get the results. But I had to slow down and figure out like what is the message that will actually get me a response. And for myself, that was like the little unlock that it's like once I understood the quality and like the work that was necessary to make a proper DM, then I could go from there and just start ripping them. In your experience, Alex, I've seen a couple YouTube videos of yours on your channel where you talk about X platform, LinkedIn, Instagram. From those three platforms, is there one in particular where you get more, I guess, like qualified leads or sales calls booked in particular?
I don't know, to be honest with you. Honestly, X has been ripping for me recently.
hmm
Um, Instagram does very well for me, but also LinkedIn does very well for me. And I think they all kind of serve like a little bit of like different maybe like demos that you can target. LinkedIn's interesting because you kind of have to connect with them first. So it's like, you can send a message with your connection request, but obviously like with X and Instagram, like you can kind of just DM them right there. And I will say I have a big advantage now, the fact that I have a large brand on all platforms. It's like almost every single person that I reach out to now, I have mutuals with somehow, some way, right? Assuming they're in the online business world. So I will say, especially on Instagram and X, when I do DM people, even if it is a cold DM, more times often than not, they know who I am.
Yeah, no, I mean that's very important to realize too, because like for myself right now too, it's not like I have a huge following, but the network continuously compounds and it makes it marginally easier to get a guest after
hmm
the other one.
Of
For
course.
someone that's first starting from like ground zero, what would be like your advice for them in order to, get that network, make those connections through just a DM that they have no idea who they are?
You have to make it really easy to say yes to again, but you also have to make it like it has to be a no-brainer offer.
Mhm.
And my buddy Daniel Fazio talks about it all the time. Like if you're a beginner, like if you don't have any sort of social proof or evidence that you're good at whatever you're saying it is, then you have to give them some sort of risk reversal. Like if you have zero evidence, like if you're pitching me on Facebook ads and you want to charge me $5,000 a month, if you have zero evidence to prove that you're good at what you're telling me you're good at, in what world am I going to give you $5,000 a month plus an ad budget without knowing if you're actually
Hmm.
good or not by taking your word
Hmm.
at face value? So that, you know, there has to be that offer has to have some sort of risk reversal of like, hey, you know, if we don't get you this result, then you're going to get a refund or you don't pay. Or, you know, hey, like, you know, there's people that I know do this for like info companies that are like publishing companies that are like, I'll front the ad spend, right?
Hmm.
And only take a percentage of revenue or profit, right? Like that's a very easy offer to say yes to. If someone, you know, I think the info operating space, whatever you want to call it, obviously blew up the last couple of years. I get a million of them that DM me every single day, and they're all the same annoying pitches every single day. Not easy to say yes to, not direct. But if one of them came, no one has done this, but I know people do this. If someone came to me and they were like, "Hey, I will pay for the ad spend for you to run this funnel that I build you, whether it's a webinar funnel, a call funnel, whatever. I'll get you your sales reps, like
Hmm.
you know." And all I'm going to do is take a percent of the revenue or the profit. Like that's a pretty hard thing to say no to. You know what I mean? I'm like, all right, like if this is your money we're playing with, dude, like
Hmm.
you know, it's hard to say no to. Like the only reason I still would say no to it is because I don't want to sell info right now. But like if I was gonna sell info, I don't know why I would say no to that. So I think that's what beginners have to realize. It's like you have to give them some sort of risk reversal, and you just need to really focus on making your offer hard to say no to.
Hmm. I think I heard someone say like something along the lines of make an offer so good they feel stupid saying no. And those
Right.
points that you're mentioning is like spot on. Like, how are you able to mitigate the risk in whatever you're doing? Where it's like, all right, I mean, if it goes wrong, then I barely kind of like lose
Right.
anything here. For yourself now, right? Like, let's say transitioning, they get out the matrix, they figure out how to do a proper outbound DM. For yourself, I know you like to use AI and integrating it in, like, I think it was called Cursor. Like, what are
Mhm.
some of these apps that are using on, like, let's say X and LinkedIn to make your life easier when reaching out to people?
Yeah, so it's basically just like once you figure out a strategy that actually works. Like let's just use um, one platform for an example, and let's use X. Um, you usually have like seed accounts. Is like how I'm doing ours. So let's just say I'm reaching out to people that own e-commerce brands. Um, people eat like the seed accounts might be tools that ecom people use. Like for example, Klaviyo. Like there's a good chance that Klaviyo follows some of their biggest customers that are big ecom brands, right? And then there's like, fill in whatever other tools that ecom people use. So you might have 5 seed accounts like that where you can go through their following and you're looking then for their bio. Their bio probably says ecom 7 figures, something of that sort. And then they might have like a link attached to their profile that maybe is to their store, or something that indicates what it is that they actually do. So once you basically figure out that process of, okay, here are my seed accounts, I go through their following, these are the things that I look for, and you have it down to an actual kind of like science, if you will.
Hmm.
That's when you can just get whisper flow in Cursor, and you can just talk to it and tell it exactly what it is you're doing. You're saying, hey, this is the company that I own. This is our ideal client profile. This is how I'm currently doing outreach. I'm identifying seed accounts. Seed accounts are good seed accounts because of XYZ reason. And what I'm doing is I'm going through their following. I'm looking for these words in their bio. I'm looking for, if you open the link in their bio, it should be a Shopify website. I'm looking for this, and you're just describing it, and then you can take that process that you were doing fully manually, and it can automate it. It can find leads for you every single night. You can actually like log Cursor into your Twitter, and have it
Hmm.
send DMs for you. I don't do that. And then you can do this for every single other platform. You can just have it, and then it'll create like a little portal or a dashboard for you. It'll add the leads into there, tell you which ones you've hit up already. You can obviously then connected to your CRM. You can kind of just keep building on top of it and making it better and better week over week.
Hmm.
But yeah, that's what you can do. And it's a weekend project, if not less than that.
So to better understand like Whisperflow and Cursor, these things are effectively like scraping the data that you ask it for to find you
So
those profiles.
so Whisperflow is just a tool that allows you to talk instead of type.
Gotcha, gotcha.
And Cursor is like the actual AI coding tool. So again, Cursor is one of these options that you could use. You could technically I'm sure you could use Claude Code. I'm sure you could, you could probably use like a Lovable, a Base 44, right? I've just used Cursor in the past to do it.
And that kind of ties into something that I wanted to tap into with as well in terms of your experience. Software as a service. Why this specific like niche? Like, why have you been in this for the past like half a decade, if not more?
Mhm.
Why?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of just happened. I guess it was like more like I've done a lot of in the marketplaces. Um, the first one was obviously Closify as a sales rep hiring platform, um, and I've kind of just been interested in that model, and I've kind of liked the tech element of it, of like the tech being the fulfillment. Just because I know myself, it's like I'm really good at sales and marketing. So it's like if that's all I have to focus on, and like the fulfillment is being done by tech for the most part, um, that's really good for me. Versus if I was like running an agency, you need to, and like if you run a high scale agency, like you need to have a really big team. Like I've ran an agency, like I still run a software development agency, but we don't scale it because I'm not good at the operations to scale a service based business. I don't do e-com, and it's like the idea of having to deal with all the supply chain logistics of like, okay, did I order too much inventory, did I not order enough? Like it seems like there's so many extra headaches in e-com or running an agency that, like, for me personally, I think in like my skill set, I think
Mhm.
it's the best business for me. There's probably other people that are just like really good creatives, and they're also just great marketers, and like e-com's perfect for them. And there's people that are like super operationally dialed. And so like for them, like they've just been running the same agency for 5 years and they get really good at it. But I also find like agencies to be incredibly boring. Like I need to enjoy what I'm working on a little bit. I think if I was just running some sort of agency, I would be absolutely bored out of my mind.
Right.
Um, so like for me, it's just like the best of everything. I think it's really exciting to see the product develop over time. I think it's great that I can focus on sales and marketing. It's just kind of like what's been best for
Mhm.
me, and I've kind of stayed in my
Mhm.
lane because I know if I try to go do
Right.
something else, it's just I'm not good enough operationally.
Right. And then within SaaS, how does one decipher like the right market? And the reason why I ask this is because when I was in college at my time, drop shipping was the move. And
Hmm.
I got into drop shipping and I made a decent amount of money with it, but it took me like a year and a half to actually finally get it going. But like the thing that I always had in mind was like figuring out, all right, like what is the right product? How do I run ads and things of that sort?
Hmm.
With SaaS, I see the same similarity in when I go on YouTube. I just see so many people that have like a SaaS business.
Hmm.
And it's for myself, it's like how do you determine the right market, the right niche, and doing this appropriately?
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting. 'Cause I almost see like SaaS and mobile apps like drop shipping now, right? Because like now that it's so you just spin them up, and you don't have to spend money on ads to grow them. You can just like we're seeing that with like the mobile app craze, right? Like people are making these viral little mobile apps, they're spamming TikToks, and they're making tons of money, right? Like to me, that's like exactly what like drop shipping in 2020 was when people discovered organic TikTok shop or TikTok drop shipping. Um, but in terms of like how to like find the right thing, there's like a few different ways, and I've kind of like I've done a few different things. Like many I've just like naturally stumbled into of like my own problems and needing to build my own solution. Like
Mhm.
I was running a sales agency, and all of our clients were like, we would just so much rather you hire internal people for us. And then we became a staffing agency. And then kind of going back to what I was talking about with like the operations, I was like, dude, I'm not going to be able to scale this as an agency. Like this needs to become like self-serve. The only option then was to turn it into a platform. That led me to that. Um, with like the UGC marketplace that we're building, it's like I'm a creator, but I'm also a business owner that's hired creators. Like on the creator side, it's like, of course, I want as much money up front as possible, and I want to like I'm not going to do something unless I see the ability to make substantial money for it. I'm not going to make a video for $100, $200, probably not even $500. But it's like if I make ad creative for a company like Lovable for $0 up front, but I know I'll get paid a percent of what they spend on it, and I know Lovable can spend a ton of money on it, sure, I'll make you a bunch of ads because it's like if I can make a couple $1,000 a month from one ad running, sure. Um, and so like also kind of came into that from like my own needs and my own wants. But
Mhm.
then the other thing is just like I mean, again, I think it's like all business comes down to finding something that works and building a variation of it. Like, I don't think any of us are really trying to build the next Amazon or Google. So it's like, don't try to come up with some original idea. Like, find something that's working, figure out a different angle that you can carve with it, and try to build a better product and try to do better distribution.
And how do people find that right market? Like in your case, saying
Hmm.
to become the next Amazon, that's kind of like you're going towards a probability of like very low success rate. How do you find that right thing?
There's a lot of ways. You can go on acquire.com and you can look at it. Honestly, this wasn't, you can go on Trust MRR now. And it's like they link their stripes so you can see how much money they're actually making, right? So it's like that's literally all the validation in the world you can need right now to say, yo, wow, this, I think it even shows the month over month growth. So it's like, you're like, whoa, this software company is making $100,000 a month and it's growing 20% month over month. Like, dude, that's a good idea. Go build it. You know what I mean? Like, boom, take that idea, search its G2 reviews, search its Trustpilot, see what people aren't happy about, and then go build what people are unhappy about, and then reach out to them. Be like, yo, I saw you complained about this. I built it for you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's pretty simple.
And you mentioned something before about like how the game has changed effectively, like where you don't necessarily have to run ads. In my time in drop shipping, like the only way to actually make money was through ads on Facebook or having
Hmm.
brand ambassadors. In
Hmm.
2026, I've seen you talk about like UGC. So break this
Hmm.
down to me. Like if I was like had no idea what this was, is it like effectively paying people to create content for your product, or how does that work
Hmm.
exactly?
Yeah, so it's like Canvas UGC. So kind of like one of the metas right now is paying UGC creators to make new social media accounts, so like new Instagram account, new TikTok account for your company, and you might pay them $20 to $30 per video, and then give them like a $1 to $2 CPM bonus on top of that, or you might just do it like milestone bonuses based off of you. So you could be like, hey, I'm gonna give you $900 a month to post 30 videos a month, so one a day, and if you at 500,000 views, I'm gonna give you X dollar amount bonus. At 1 million views, I'll give you $1,000 bonus. 5 million views, like, kind of so on and so forth. However you want to structure it, and you want to do this kind of like at scale, right? So you want to do this with multiple creators and grow that, and then similarly, and you want to take the best performing organic videos and put some ad spend behind them, right? Run creator partnership ads, run TikTok Spark ads, um, and it kind of just creates this like flywheel. So that's kind of like the end-to-end solution and infrastructure that we're trying to build now.
And for TikTok Shop, does this integrate with SaaS businesses as well? I thought this was only like physical
No,
products. No.
no, but it's the same strategy that e-commerce brands are applying is also becoming applicable to SaaS companies. So it's not, again, it's not like TikTok Shop where obviously no one's checking out
Right.
like a SaaS from a video or a mobile app from a video.
Right.
Um, but it is, you can apply the same strategy of sorts.
And have you been applying? So one thing that worked for me probably like 2 years ago was TikTok Lives, where I was doing personal finance boot camps. I would do a Q&A
Hmm.
session for a couple hours and then funnel people into like a sales call, ultimately leading to a boot camp. Is there
Hmm.
something similar like that you're implementing today with like live? Because it's so big right now in
Hmm.
terms of like
We're
shopping and
mhm. We're super interested in it. We're we're building the ability to find like top live sellers for TikTok and whatnot. Um, I have no idea how it's going to, I don't know if it's going to be something that becomes a thing for like SaaS and apps. You know what I mean? It's been clear that it's going to be the next big thing for e-commerce. Um, but we are going to build in that space next. But yeah, like what's going to happen? I don't know if there's any like overlap there with like SaaS. I think it's interesting even with ecom because it's like how do you make it, like you have to make it entertaining. You can't like, at least in my opinion, it's like unless you have so much brand awareness where like you can literally just sell the entire time and people are willing to watch because they love the brand, and if there actually are like live discounts they want to do it.
Mhm.
But otherwise, I think it's like, how do you actually make it a mixture between like entertaining, but like you're also like selling the product? Like I think like maybe an
Right.
example is if you're a supplement company, right? It's like am I gonna just sit on a 30-minute live and just hear you tell me the benefits of a supplement and try to get me to buy? Like, am I just gonna watch like a
Right.
30-minute commercial, or is there a way where like it's someone's doing some sort of like live like workout routine that you can follow live with them,
Mhm.
and then like at the end they're selling you on like some sort of like recovery supplement, whatever it might be, but like
Right.
that's
Right.
like something that I can see like because I always think I do know the average consumer might not be like me, but I always think of like, okay, like why would I buy something from like a TikTok live? Like I'm never gonna just tune into someone live, like buy this, buy this, buy this. But like if they were like, yo, we're doing like a live workout class and it was like for like for former athletes and then after they're like, yo, this is like the best recovery, like I might at least be peaked then. So I don't know. I think it's really interesting to think about it.
No, for sure. And how do you and one thing that I'm also like diving into is these apps like Sora where you could create like these AI generated videos. How do you think this
Hmm.
comes into play with like the UGCs and then the AI videos that look super real? Like people can just
Yeah.
be doing this now instead too.
Yeah. It's interesting. I want to say I'm I'm bearish on it. Um, Obviously, platforms have started to crack down on it already, or like demonetizing AI content. Um, there's so much like AI stuff and slop now that I think we're kind of entering like a trust economy. So I think like the best human creators are never going to have anything to worry about. Um, And so I don't know, I'm kind of bearish on it as a whole. But with
Hmm.
that being said, there's certainly not no use case for it in places where it excels. Like um are some people make incredible launch videos fully with AI. And I'm sure it's such a fraction of the cost of doing it all with real people. And like they're sick. Um so I can't sit here and say I don't think they're gonna stick around, and I don't think that there's use cases for them. But like
Hmm.
specifically for like UGC, and for like selling products, I'm kind of bearish on it.
Hmm. I would have to agree with one of the pieces that you mentioned, and I spoke about this in a podcast probably a couple weeks ago, where I feel pretty bullish, just like you, on let's say X, right? Creating content. If you go right now on a bunch of different posts and look at the replies, they're typically all pretty much the same in a sense.
Yep.
And I ran this experiment like a month ago where I was just like, I'm going to spend like 6 hours just replying on people's posts and really take my time, slow down, take pictures of a page of a book that I'm reading. And ultimately, I got a whole bunch of different retweets from people like Tim Ferriss and things of that sort, where I was just like, all right, I can understand how people may think right now AI is creating saturation, but in my personal opinion, I feel like it's never been easier to be the purple cow and stand out
Hmm.
because, you could just be original, right? So it's like
Right.
you could post a picture of you playing tennis and be like, all right, about to go rip these sales calls, right? Like people resonate with that more
Hmm.
versus AI slop. So I'm pretty
Yeah.
bullish on that. Another question I want to ask you, dude, is right now with X money for myself, I feel like this is amazing because, in my opinion, the easier you make it to have a potential customer or client be able to pay you, it becomes easier to make money on these platforms. So, what's your take on X money?
Yeah. I actually like just got early access like yesterday. I got the
You got your
notification.
15 bucks, a little
Yeah,
more.
I haven't set it up or
Yeah, I
anything.
got you.
I haven't really looked into it that much, to be honest
Yeah.
with you. I think it is really interesting that like, a social media platform is getting into that. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't know that I have too many thoughts. I think it is I just think it's very interesting that X is getting into it. And I know they're offering up to like 6% interest, which I'm like curious how they're
Right.
doing that, right?
Yeah.
Um, but I don't. It is fascinating. I just like I don't have that many insights on it, and I'm not like a finance guy, so I'm not gonna sit here and talk about
Yeah.
like I know what I'm talking about. But I think it's interesting,
Yeah. You study finance though, bro. Come on.
dude. I was, of course, like college is so great that 2 years of college, and I don't think I got into a single actual finance course. I
Yeah,
don't.
yeah.
I think I think maybe the closest I got was I took like one accounting class, and I think I failed it. Um, so
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So Alex, like one thing that I'm always interested in is seeing like your day to day, right? Like for myself, I
Hmm.
saw on X that you've been slamming outbound calls like
Yeah,
all day, every day. Like what does your day look like in a sense in terms of like work?
yeah. Um, I wake up anywhere between like 8 and 9. Not that early. I've been a riser. Only reason I wake up early is like to go play pickleball.
Let's
But
go.
between like 8 and 9 usually. Um, First hour of the day is just like replying to everyone. Like I'll have a bunch of Slack messages, a bunch of WhatsApp messages, a bunch of text messages, emails. So first hour is just like replying to everyone. Um, and then I'll usually have like as you saw, like calls from 10 a.m. to on a slow day, 2 to 3 p.m. on a busier day, 4 to 6 p.m.
Hmm.
Um, so and if there are any like little breaks in between those calls, I just rip outbound for like the 30 minutes in between. Um, And then after all the calls, I usually just do more outreach for like the next day or to fill the rest of the week.
Hmm.
Um, Answer Slacks, answer all my messages again before going to bed. And then I usually just sync with my co-founder here.
Hmm.
We go over kind of like what we accomplished that day, what we're trying to do this week. And that's like um, a little bit different this week just because we're focusing on activating a lot of people rather than I have many much less demos this week. I'm focusing on like activating people we've already onboarded now rather than just like continuing to onboard more.
Hmm.
Um, Working a lot right now.
Hmm.
So it wasn't always the case in like the previous companies. Like I did a good job of getting myself out of the day to day, but like right now I'm in full founder mode. So I'm actually working a lot right now.
Yeah. And for yourself, right? Like you previously started an agency where you were helping companies find those sales reps. What's your thought process behind you not doing the same for yourself right now and hiring people to do the sales calls?
Yeah. So like I for sure will, right? Like I for sure will hire people
Yeah.
pretty soon, but I think we're still very early, so I'm still doing full founder led sales. Um I mean you should for sure hire people and I think that I'm even better at building a sales team now than I would have been whatever that was 4 years ago. Yeah, I will for sure be hiring people and teach them everything I know, but obviously it's hopefully I'll hire someone that isn't starting from, near a beginner. Um, I'm gonna hire someone that's an A player for sure.
And how do you do that nowadays? Is it more so through already like the network that you built over the past couple of years, or are you
Hmm.
doing some like hack on LinkedIn to figure out like the best
Nah.
salespeople?
Yeah, it's definitely like a little bit of network. Honestly, like poaching people is what I think is like I think like um it's and I can't say this like a source of truth of like I haven't hired that many people for like I guess like high level roles or whatever, but I think the biggest sign that someone's a stud is that they've already proved it, right? So like I have a boy that works at a tech startup right now, and he was like their number one SDR, and he just got promoted to an account executive. And they the base is pretty low for an account executive for a New York City based company. Um, and so I've already like planted the seed in his mind. I'm like, hey dude, like whenever if you're ever not happy there, like we could like I would pay you out of my pocket what your base is right now. Like
Yeah.
his base is really low for an account executive, but the OT is not bad. But
Mhm.
anyways, I think it's gonna come from like poaching people. Like I don't want to that and like just doing like paid trials. Like I don't think you just like hire someone up front. Like you should at least always do a hire week, a hire or sorry, a trial week, a trial month with someone before giving them any sort of like actual full offer.
Right. And this is like a two-part question. For one, would you tell someone, let's say, starting off, or let's say they want to make a pivot in their career, would you tell them to find a sales job within a tech company or start their own SaaS business? And then the second part is, how effectively do they find the right role for sales in the right company? Because a lot of times you could see job postings that's like
Hmm.
you have no idea what the company is, and you're just like
Yeah.
raking in goose eggs, you know?
Um, if I was like fresh out of like high school or college, um I do actually think it would be so much more advantageous for someone to go work at a startup first than to start their own off rip. I think you'll learn so much and get paid to learn rather than, try to start something up on your own without really knowing what to do and probably like losing money and maybe stressing yourself out. Um, and the other thing is like, I will say like tech sales is probably the best job in the world. You can make a fuck ton of money and like realistically, you could set yourself up in a couple of years if you're just like smart and like live below your means and stack it all away. Um, again, how to get those jobs? Like I don't really know. I don't know what to tell you. Like
Yeah.
I think it's similar. Like I think you need to like have proven yourself somewhere else first, or else you're just probably gonna go get like a shitty SDR job somewhere first. You're just gonna have to really like grind
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and prove yourself. Like there's no such thing as really skipping straight to an account executive, I guess.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, so I would say though it's definitely like I can't even imagine like if I started in a startup first and I got to learn before starting my own thing, and obviously there's the butterfly effect, and I wouldn't be where I am if I didn't start how I did. But it's like there is just like a world where you're just gonna learn so much more to start up than like you are from just going straight into it yourself and failing a bunch.
And how did you get that first sales job while you were in college?
So it was an online remote sales job, and I mean it's so funny looking back on, but it's like I was selling this guy's $250 Amazon FBA course.
Uh-huh.
Like my commission was $37 and he would Venmo it to me. Uh, and even then, like kind of going back to what we were talking about at the beginning, where it's like they need like a risk reversal. Like this guy wasn't even going to trust me to sell his $250 a month course. He was like, "Do you
Right.
have any?" He's like, "Do you have any clients testimony?" And I was honest. I was like, "No, dude." I was like, I was like, "You should just hire me." And he kind of just like gave me this like little like deal. He was like, "Yo, go like find me someone and close them first, and then I'll like give you," because he ran like Instagram DM ads, and so he's like, "If you can prove to me that you can go find someone and close them, then like sure, I'll put you in my DMs and you'll have all the leads you want, book your own, like whatever." And I was just like, I sold sneakers in high school, so I just popped in one of these reselling chats. Like, "Yo, who wants to like pivot from the sneaker world to this online Amazon FBA world?" And someone bought it for it's $250, like whatever. Someone bought it. And this was like within like a day or two. And the guy was like, "Holy shit, how did you do that so fast?" And I was like, "I don't know." And yeah, so I started working with him then, and I was in his DMs, just closing people left and right, some over DMs, some I'd hop on a quick call with, and then he gave me a testimonial, and then I just got clients like this, like new clients every single week after that. And but yeah, that's kind of like how I got my first one. It's just kind of funny.
That's pretty fucking hilarious and nuts at the same time. So, all right, when you were working for this guy though, what made you transition over to SaaS? Like, so my understanding that was like an information-based product. What's your
Yeah.
take on information-based product, just in general, and why did you pivot to SaaS then?
Um, well, so like I was obviously like a sales rep. Like I wasn't selling info at that time. Like I
Right.
think courses are great and coaching is
Hmm.
great. I've at
Yeah.
least spent 100 grand on it over the last however many years. Some have been kind of like life changing. Some have been not great. Um, I think it usually is whatever you make of it, though, right?
Hmm.
Um, like there could be the best course in the world, but I would say like the inevitable part of it is like there's always going to be the people that are going to succeed with or without a course. A course might just make it faster for them, and then there's the people that you could give them all the best information in the world, and they were just never cut out for it. They're just like not going to ever succeed. Um, but so that's kind of my opinion on courses. I'm kind of anti selling it myself, um, just because it's like I feel like more called to do something that's actually like exciting and like I like would feel good. Like I don't know, the idea of like just
Right.
selling a course and just like living off that. It's like maybe you're helping some people, but again, just it's not even your fault. But it's like there's probably at least 50% of the people you're just making money off them, and they'll never see a single result from it. So like I would much rather build something real. I think selling a course and just being like an online hustler. Like you don't own a business, you didn't build anything really. Um, but yeah, and then I mean that's like kind of like why like, I think again SaaS is like you get to see a product develop over time. You're usually you should be building something that actually provides a lot of value to people. I mean again like what we're building right now, like hopefully it gets hundreds of thousands of people paid as a UGC creator. You know what I mean? If not millions. And so like to me, that's like a much more exciting mission and thing to build than, you know, selling some sort of make money online program.
Yeah. And so talk to me a little bit about what you're cooking up right now.
Yeah, so we're working on a company called Lucra, and it's basically a performance-based UGC marketplace. So, kind of what I was talking about earlier. If I was a creator on the platform and Lovable was a client, Lovable might put out a creator brief and they say, "Hey, this is the type of ad creatives that we want, and we're not going to pay you anything up front for it, right? But we'll pay you 10% of whatever we spend on it." And I make a bunch of videos then, so they get a bunch of content for free up front. But then if they run an ad and one of my ads is the winner and it hits, they might scale that ad pretty heavily, and I might make a lot of money on it. Now there's also like smart retainers that kind of protects the creator's downside. So they might be like, hey, if you make 30 approved videos, you'll either get paid $2,000 or 10% of ad spend, whichever one is greater. So it kind of protects your downside. But yeah, that's what I'm working on.
So it's a marketplace to find the UGCs and like the companies that want that type of content, and you kind of
Yep,
combine those two.
exactly.
Super dope. So I guess for yourself right now, you already have all the like a decent amount of companies you're working with. How are you finding these UGCs? Is it through like that relentless outbound, or what's your kind
Mhm.
of thought process there?
Yeah, so in the first 2 weeks, we signed up 120 companies. Um, and we're actually sourcing our creators through partnering with UGC agencies. So UGC agencies are bringing their creators onto the platform. In return, they're going to make a percentage of their creators' earnings, and then also we're listing them in our like Explore Partners tab, and we're bringing these companies to work with the UGC agencies.
So for the most part, these UGCs nowadays, they're all like signed to an agency. Like, how does that work? Like, could anyone just be a UGC?
Yeah, a lot of them are, and it's kind of like one of our like selling points. Is it's like all of our creators on the platform are tied to an agency. And so with that being said, a lot of them, invested in education to be a part of that agency, or like they just have direct management. So they're getting help of like, hey, here are the type of formats that you should make. They're getting coaching on their videos. So there's like a pretty high bar for the type of quality of videos that they put out versus like other platforms. It's like if you can just sign up and if Joe Schmo off the street can sign up, like you're just gonna get a bunch of people uploading really shitty videos that you have to filter through and say reject, 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 and you're looking for the needle in the haystack. Then, um, so our approach is more, hey, everyone on our platforms actually like a full time UGC creator. They're tied to an agency. Like this is what they do, and there's someone ensuring that the quality is high.
And to kind of like backtrack a little bit, because correct me if I'm wrong here. You said for SaaS businesses, UGCs, are they performing well or are they not? You said no, right?
No, it works great for
It
SaaS.
works. Okay. Okay. Because like from my I guess limited knowledge on the UGC, I always kind of pictured it as like someone like let's say a girl promoting like a purse or something, and then people buy it through the video that they're watching.
Mhm.
Versus like, someone making a video, I guess, like a tutorial of using some sort of software, people could subscribe through that. It's like the same concept from my understanding.
Yeah, and again, a lot of these are also just keep in mind like they're intended to be used as a paid ad. So we're not focused on organic UGC. We're focused on UGC for paid ad creative. So again, just like use the example of um like if I was making an ad for Lovable again, right? I might make one of my videos where it's like, here's how to start a software company in 3 simple steps. Step one, go here, get your idea. Step two, go to lovable.dev to make your product. Da 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 step three, whatever, do this for distribution. And then they're taking that video of mine and they're running it as an ad. And then obviously if they see it's very, very profitable, they're going to spend more on it.
And I've heard like mixed reviews from different founders on this topic specifically as to like paying for ads, where someone told me that he makes like, I don't know, probably $1 million a year, but he says ads don't work as they did, maybe 5 or 6 years ago. And the move on, let's say, Instagram is to focus on purely organic content? Like what are your thoughts on like paid ads? Obviously it seems like you're
Yeah.
positive on it, but
I think that's a pretty foolish thing to say is that
yeah,
ads don't work that well anymore.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, if you go look at any biggest company in the world, every single one will run ads, right? Um, that's not to say that organic isn't very powerful. Of course it is, but organic is going to be like this, right? Like you're going to have months where it might like, and I know this from being like I've had 2023 I had months where I was probably getting 10 million plus views a month, and it's like then the next month there might be 2 million, right? It's going to go up and down, and then your revenue is going to be totally based off of that. Ads
Mhm.
is much more predictable and linear. Every single biggest company on the earth is ads. Um, so, and I think the caveat is like media buying as a skill has gotten less important because the algorithms are so good at finding new buyers now that, and it's like, kind of like why we're building this company. It's like creatives are just more important than ever now, and testing more creatives is more important than ever, which is why we're building what we're building.
Yeah, it's from your take, it's not like binary, like ads or no ads. It's like
Mhm.
a combination of both.
Of
Obviously,
course.
would be the most beneficial. So, Alex, this has been an absolute masterclass. Where can people find you?
Yeah. If you search Alex Heiden on YouTube, you'll find me. It's nocode.alex on Instagram. Then I think my X handle is AlexH459. But again, if you search Alex Heiden, you'll probably find me.
Amazing. And the last question I have for you, sir, is are you going professional in pickleball? What's going on there?
No, I stopped playing for I'm back to tennis and maybe paddle, but maybe if I make enough money in the next couple of years, I'll give myself a pro tennis run where I'll lose a bunch of money because they make no money.
Love it, man. Well, dude, appreciate your time, man. I learned a lot from you today. And I know for sure people are going to tap in and get some knowledge out of this one. So thank you, sir.
Cool. Appreciate it, bro.
Cheers, man.
Peace.